Hi, and welcome to the Jake Roque Show, a podcast dedicated to the pursuit of being happier, healthier, wealthier, and wiser. Each episode, I interview an interesting creative entrepreneur, thought leader, successful business person, or all-around cool human, and see how we can gain some applicable knowledge to better ourselves and expand our worldview. On this episode, I'm joined by the legendary photographer, Krissy Saleh. Chrissy shares insight on how she became a successful and well-known photographer by the age of 23. What some of the best and most challenging parts of working in her field are, tips on growing your social media following and collaborating and having the confidence to pursue what matters to you. Without further ado, here's Chrissy. Thanks for coming on the show. I'm so stoked to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Chrissy is a photographer who is doing the coolest things any 23-year-old photographer in the world is doing. To brag on you for a second, you've been working as a photographer since you were like 18 or so.
Yeah.
And she's worked with like some of the biggest brands. You've been shooting for Brandy Melville for a long time. You just had a shoot you did with Lana.
Yeah, Lana
correct?
Condor.
Lana Condor that was on the cover of 17 magazine.
Mexico.
17 magazine Mexico.
In Mexico,
which is incredible.
Thank you.
And I feel like that's like I feel like if you probably went to like 17-year-old Chrissy and was like, what's your dream? Like that would be, I feel like any young photographer is like, yeah, I want to shoot the cover of 17 magazine.
Yeah, it was crazy. I almost said cover. It was crazy for sure.
Yeah. That's so sick. So that's
you.
Amazing. Just want to like brag on you for a second because I think you're so cool. Welcome to the show. How are you? How is photography treating you lately this past few months? What you been up to?
I'm great. It was slow in July. And then it just picked up. I had the 17 Mexico cover with Lana Condor, which was a dream come true.
So amazing.
I just shot my first beauty campaign for this clean beauty brand called Tower 28.
Okay.
So that was super cool.
Yeah.
Really thankful that they believed in me for that. I also just shot the album art and like behind the scenes photos for Peyton List's new song "Don't Cry" that's coming out on Friday.
I saw you post about that today.
So excited!
Right? Or yesterday? Yeah.
Yes.
It looks so cool.
Thank you.
The style and everything behind it looks sick. And some of the photos she posted, I was like, "Yo."
Thank you. It's one of my favorite shoots.
Yeah.
So I'm really
excited.
Rad.
So to rewind it for a second, we got like 18-year-old Chrissy.
Yep.
She decides she wants to be a photographer. To 23-year-old Chrissy, that's just absolutely crushing it. What connect those dots for me? Like, how did that progression start? What made you decide you want to do it?
Okay, so when I was in middle school, I was weirdly fascinated by like HTML and just like coding, like my Neopets, like website templates, I guess, or profile templates, whatever. And then
it's a
MySpace,
really good thing to like.
Yeah, MySpace, I would do it for that too, and then just like other websites, and like I love just photoshopping and all those kind of nerdy things. And then I decided I need a camera. And then my dad bought me, my parents were so supportive, they bought me my first camera. It was a little point and shoot camera.
Amazing.
And then,
what kind?
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like a basic point and shoot.
Yeah, and I would take like selfies and just like edit them.
Yeah. And
then, I don't know why. And then I started photographing my friends in high school, and they bought me a DSLR. Like it was a Canon Rebel T, I think T2. I don't remember. And again, very thankful for them for investing in a hobby at the time. Went into high school photographing my friends, and at that time I wanted to be a therapist for like troubled teens, so I just like love giving advice. I love helping people. I love making them happy. And I was photographing my friends, and once I realized how they would light up when they saw photos of themselves, I was kind of like, oh, I kind of want to do this as a career.
Yeah.
But I'm also from Irvine. So in Irvine, people see just like the world kind of differently, I guess. They just want to go straight to school after they graduate. And I was always that weird kid that was like, I don't really want to go to college. Yeah. I did anyways. But I went to community college, and then...
Were you planning to study like psychology at the time?
Good question. I was gonna just do business and just hope photography would work out for me. But I never thought I'd be in the fashion industry. Yeah. I thought I'd be doing like weddings and senior portraits and engagement photos. and I interned for a photographer named Michelle Kim,
Okay.
and
Very
she's a
cool.
wedding photographer,
Yeah.
or was. I think she's more acting again now. She's doing great. And she taught me a lot, and then she introduced me to posting my work on Instagram and
What year was
tagging
this?
brands. This was when I was 18, so that was
Okay.
2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Then,
like Instagram came out, what, like 2012, right? I think.
maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Sometime around then. So like you're still like a more or less on like the early side of
Yeah,
really
I was on.
getting serious about it.
That's my like. That's when people ask me how I made it. I always like. I think I just was right at the good time to join Instagram and
Saw the opportunity. And
yeah, but I didn't know
I'm
at the
sure
time.
like was, being consistent
Yeah.
when you like when you see the opportunity is a big part of that.
Yeah, and excuse me. I was posting my photos and tagging brands, and then Brandy Melville found me,
Okay.
and then they were the first company to like ever really believe in me.
Yeah. And this was in 2014, 2015?
Yes, 2014.
So you were 18 years old.
Yeah.
And Brandon Melville comes across and is like, yo, we want you to start shooting for our brand.
Yes, but actually what's crazy is they had a 16-year-old, I think, shooting for them at the time.
Which is so smart if you think about it, because if you're trying to capture like the feeling and the vibe of the group of people that you're trying to market towards, right? Which is probably the younger female crowd, like to have younger female photographers makes so much sense.
It does. Yeah, it really does. No, the brand is very smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, they brought me on, and I've been shooting for them for 5 years now, and I'm really grateful for them.
Yeah. Or would you say they're the most consistent brand that you've worked for so far?
100%.
Yeah. Who are some of your other brands that either like you're really proud of or have been like a joy to work with?
I shot for Puma a few times, but it was more of like an influencer kind of thing.
Okay.
I hate that
so
word.
They were having you
influencer,
shoot.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah,
they like post on your Instagram.
Yeah, they want me to post on it, but it was like fun because I had a lot of creative freedom to do it.
Yeah.
I love shooting for 17 Mexico because I kind of got to decide where we would shoot and everything, and it was really fun. I shoot for Juicy Couture
Okay, that's cool.
almost monthly, and Aeropostale, which is fun.
Right.
Poland Bear. But yeah, Brandy would have to be my most consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. I feel like, how do you feel like Chrissy, when she was first picking up a camera, would react to like knowing that now?
Probably pass out or something.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Just like totally geek
Well, I
out
never
on the
thought I'd be where I
opportunities you had.
am.
Totally.
Never.
As quick as you have gotten there too,
Yeah,
right?
it was very quick.
And to be catapulted into it like
Yeah.
at 18,
Yeah,
starting
to
to
grow
shoot
up
for,
very
for
fast.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so rad. What
Thank
part
you.
of that, I feel like Brandy was like in a way like a big break in that lineup. Were there any other like pieces of it where you felt like they were like big turning points in your career, where it was like this thing happened and you were like, okay, like things you look back on that really changed the tide?
So Brandy Melville at the time was using very high profile people to model. So I photographed Alexis, Ren, and Jay Alvarez when they were dating.
Okay.
And I was the first photographer to ever shoot them for a brand together.
Wow.
And that kind of like catapulted me, I guess, because they were just so idolized as a couple.
Yeah.
So they were like the first Instagram couple, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the mics went out for a second.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They're back.
Hello.
We can edit anything.
Okay.
And another thing for you to know too, if you ever say anything where you're like, we can just cut it out. So
Yeah.
like feel free to.
Okay. Yeah.
just
The
flow.
influencer thing you probably caught on. I didn't really want to say that, but anyways, we can go back to it later.
I feel like it is what it is,
Yeah.
you know, like it's what it's called, influencer.
Yep.
So.
But don't love that word for some reason. But
I feel like this is an interesting piece of this before you go on.
Okay.
What part of the word influencer don't you like? Like what's the vibe that throws you off with it? Because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I feel the same way, but why?
I just don't. Wait, are the mics on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I couldn't tell. Influencer. I don't really know what about it. I just feel like it's such like a.
I think it's used in a pretentious way.
Yeah,
maybe.
it is. I just like influencers. Like how I don't know. You know what? It's
Yeah.
like you're only known for like your looks. In my opinion, I want to be like known for more than just.
You want to be a
that.
photographer. You want to be someone that like you want to be a singer songwriter. You want to be an actor. You don't want to just be like an influencer. 'Cause it's like, what do you do?
There's nothing wrong with influencers. I just, for some reason, I feel like everyone should be known for just more than being an influencer.
Mm-hmm. It's like being famous for the sake of being famous. It's like, wait, but is there anything you like doing?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like just posting. I mean, I feel like all these influencers have so much talent and they're not being recognized for it. They're just being called influencers. It's like a label.
A general thing. I think from a business perspective too, that all they see them is like the numbers too, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, okay, this person has 100,000 followers. They're going to get us 10,000 likes on every photo they post, which is this many, impressions. If we get this % conversion of every eye that gets on it, we're going to make this much money.
Exactly.
Which is the way the business sees it. But yeah, there's like a whole creative side from our end where it's like, okay, there's so much more that goes into it along those lines. So continue with Jay Alvarez,
and
Alexis Ren.
They were idolized as a couple. They're like the first Instagram couple.
And were they just like tagging you in things they posted?
Yeah, they were tagging me, and I was getting a lot of attention through it. And then I would shoot with like Scarlett Lighthold, and that was giving me a lot of attention too, because obviously she's just like a beautiful person inside and out, and people look up to her, which is great. And then things personally that were like, whoa, this is actually my career, like this is crazy, is 17 US. They named me one of their favorite photographers. Like I got like an award for it. Yeah. Which was super cool.
Crazy. How long ago was that?
That was probably in 2015.
Yeah.
So I was like 19 probably.
Insane.
Yeah, it was crazy.
17 magazine's like, here's one of our favorite photographers.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
And then Teen Vogue also interviewed me, but that was just for Instagram. But still, I was like, this is like my dream come true.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. What part of that? So I feel like there's a lot of things that were like what you expected it to be. What's like the more negative sides? So there's like, a lot of the things where it's like, that's, you're shooting for this brand or this company. Was there anything that you got there and you're like, oh, this is a little bit underwhelming? Like not everything I thought it'd be in certain areas.
Well, it's funny. I talk about this a lot now with like friends. I never admit this on anything, not because I'm ashamed. I just never admitted it. But I feel I would put my validation into what I would accomplish. So like I got a billboard for Forever 21 like a year ago in Times Square, and it was amazing. Yeah. But I feel like that feeling of being like high off my accomplishment only lasted for like a few days, and then it was like, okay, now what's next? Right. I feel like I never just stop and enjoy the moments, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I accomplished this. Like that's great. Yeah. So I feel like I think any creative, they're always like, what's next? But I don't know. It doesn't feel as fulfilling as I thought it would be. If that makes any sense. Yeah. Like this specific thing, especially because your metrics, like your base level of what you'd consider cool is constantly changing. They say like a lot of times when you make more money, the base level of what you perceive to be more money goes up. So it never feels like you've made as much as you thought you wanted. Yeah, you never have enough. Yeah. Right. And I just think it's like escalated though a lot with like social media and how competitive it is, because I feel like you're like, oh, I accomplished this, but someone else is going to accomplish something else. And you compare yourself, and it's hard and it's competitive. And you move to LA and you're up against maybe like the most successful people in those metrics in the world, so it's like if it comes to a following, or if it comes to finances, or if it comes to levels, whatever metrics of success people might compare, you're doing it up against like the highest level. So even if you come here and you're well above average, you might feel like a loser still, just because of the pond you're in, so to speak. Yeah, small fish in a big pond. Right. Yeah, that's what's hard. And then I just feel like everyone thinks, like this goes for everyone in the industry, like the entertainment industry. Everyone just thinks, wow, that looks like fun. But I stay up sometimes till like 4 a.m. editing. Yeah. And then you see, everyone sees the cool part on Instagram, but you don't see like the slaving away behind your computer. And I've had some shoots where I've absolutely just been so like, it's been a lot. It was a lot of work. Right. But I'm still like, love this shoot. Yes. Like, I don't want everyone to know like how hard that shoot was, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I'm still grateful. I still have fun every photo shoot I do, no matter what. But I sometimes come home and I'm like just wiped out. People share the highlight reel. They're not going to show the downs and all that stuff. We were talking in the car a second ago before we started shooting this podcast about, for me, for a while, I was shooting for a lot of other YouTubers in LA. And I enjoy that kind of thing. I really do. But there came a point for me where it's like when I had too many projects that I didn't feel like super personally invested in,
it wasn't the kind of thing that I wanted to be making, it can become really draining if you put yourself in that position over and over and over and over and over. And then you're like, wait, I don't like this. The whole reason that I'm doing this kind of thing is to be doing something that I like. And I'm spending all this time working for other people, sometimes doing things that is just like, I'm not passionate about it. I'm not excited about it. I'm just here working.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's not why I chose the career that I chose. So I can get the like, and then again too, you know, especially when you're working for someone, you always, you know, there's always like, you show the positives, because that's, especially if you're working for a brand per se, like they don't want a photographer that's going to like not help promote their brand. That's what they're paying you to do. So you, as on a professional sense, you want to deliver the best you can, because they're paying you to do your best. You want to do your best, but sometimes, you know, you might leave out the parts where it's like, but actually this isn't super fun. You know?
You also don't want to like bag on the brand.
Totally.
That's like, you know,
because it might not be their fault too. You know, it's like, it's not their fault that sometimes you have to stay up till 4 a.m. editing.
Yeah,
it's like,
no, sometimes it's my fault because I procrastinate.
Yeah. Maybe it is that, or maybe it's just part of what comes with the job too, you know? So we talked about some of the brands that you really enjoyed working with, but what are some of the shoots you've done with people in LA that have just been like so much fun? You're like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. You know, if it's like people that you're close friends with, or that you're getting paid by a brand to go do something, or someone that you've maybe like really looked up to that all of a sudden you're like sitting with shooting for a magazine or a brand, or, you know, whatever type of content they're having you do. Like, what are those moments where you're like, wow, this is really cool that I'm getting paid to do this?
It's actually funny because a lot of the shoots I do that I'm like, wow, this was the best shoot I've ever done, are the ones I do for free, just with my own creative freedom. There's nothing wrong with the brand's direction or anything like that, but obviously like sometimes I want to have the creative reins and I want to like pick out how I want to photograph it and the vibe and the model and everything.
Totally, of course.
But there was one shoot that was really cool. I got to photograph Iskra. She's a model for mainly Aerie, and she's just all about like body positivity and just everything. And I really look up to her because she's just so confident in who she is.
Yeah.
Flaws and everything.
Yeah.
She like embraces them, and I'm like, wow, you're like being such a light in this industry. Right. I always talk about her because I'm just like really admire her. I was able to photograph her for a hair tie company.
Okay.
Yeah, and she actually pitched me for it. And
that's cool.
Yeah, I just was a big honor.
Yeah. Did you know her?
I knew her
already?
before. I met her at Fashion Week a few years ago.
Okay, cool.
But
Which one? In New York?
Yeah, New York.
Okay, cool.
And she was just so cool and down to earth. So, but I've done a lot of creative photo shoots. Like I did one for my friend Peyton, the one I was talking about earlier, the music video. Like,
looks so cool. Guys, go so follow. Cool. Okay, so by the way, just while we're on it, it's at Krissy, Krissy. You can go look at the shoot right now. Oh my gosh, thank you. And it's tight.
But there's like some really, those photos are like good, but there's some that like I'm like obsessed with, and I just cannot wait to post them. Yeah. But I have to wait, obviously.
You gotta wait till the song drops.
Yeah, I hate to be that person. Okay. Coming soon.
Coming soon. Well, it's dropping soon too.
It is dropping on Friday.
So by the time, so this will come out. This will come out. The song will be out by the time this is out. So cool.
Yeah, everyone be prepared. Just saying.
It's sick. If I haven't made my point clear yet, go look at her work on her Instagram. For someone else who's maybe, let's say, to your advice to the 18-year-old kid that just picked up a camera and they're like, yo, I really, really love this. And this is something I want to try and do, but I don't know how to break into this industry. I also don't know how to make any money doing this. Like how would you recommend someone start getting into that process?
Okay, so the first thing I probably would really recommend is to find a support system. Not necessarily financially, but I just know like I'm so lucky my family really supported me and believed in me. And they never doubted me. They never told me, Krissy, this isn't going to work out. They told me I have a backup plan, obviously. That's a smart thing a parent should tell their child. Right. But they've always, like they invested in me. Like they would reward me like on Christmas or like for graduation, they'd buy me cameras or some sort of equipment up until I was able to support myself. And I'm just very thankful for that. And I know a lot of teens don't get that support. Right. And I feel like they'll just automatically feel that they're not able to live out their dream because their parents don't support it. But I believe in everyone that wants to do photography, and I want to be an inspiration to everyone that they can do photography because I never thought I'd be where I am right now. So support or to find support for your passions are very important in my opinion. Yeah. So anyone that's listening to this and doesn't believe they can do it, like, you can DM me, because I always give advice to people that want to do photography and don't think they have a support system.
Right.
So that's the one thing I would recommend.
Yeah.
Is try to find someone who supports you and just run with that.
I feel like I've also seen you give a lot of good like information / advice to models as well. People that are like breaking industry that way and like giving people, letting them know what to expect, letting them know what they should work on, letting them know whatever it is. Yeah. Like what would you tell to someone else? So maybe in a different position, but something you know well, an 18-year-old kid who wants to be a model. That's like, okay, all I want to know is I want to break into this. Yeah. That's it. Where should they start? Where's like square one?
Well, square one would be having confidence.
Okay.
This industry, and at every angle, no matter if you're a photographer, I'm sure it's the same thing with jobs that I'm not familiar with, as in like doctors or lawyers, but with photography and modeling and acting and singing, the all entertainment industry, you're always being kind of torn down in a way. Like, especially for models, like they're told that they're not the right weight or body type, or, oh, you should cut your hair and dye it, even though you don't want to. And I've seen girls go through extremely horrible events, as in like having an eating disorder, or just going into dark places with drugs. And I think just having a really strong head on your shoulders, and again, finding that support system is really important before going into modeling. But if you feel like, yeah, I'm confident, this is what I'm being called to do, I really want to model, then it would be to submit to agencies, in my opinion. And also, I think people think rejection with modeling is a bad thing, but there's a lot of freelance models that I personally pick up on and use for brands, and I don't go through an agency. So if you're not, for some strange reason, the agency does not want you, don't feel discouraged, because you could always do freelance modeling. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
At all.
And I think it's becoming more and more common.
It's very trendy,
As people are growing on social media.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. You build a following and people want you to come model for something, like they shoot you a DM, you can negotiate your own rates.
Yeah.
Or you can even get, your own manager, own agent.
Some of them have agents.
Like outside of one of those big modeling, what are they called?
Agencies?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you could have like an independent agent. That's not a part of like some big agency.
Or a manager,
correct?
yeah. And there's also like a lot of apps that you can actually sign up for. And you can get like jobs through there too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Kind of like taking it in your own hands. And I think a lot of people too, and I think this goes for so many different industries, like, you'll submit to, if you're a musician, you'll try and get signed to a label, but most people don't get picked up by labels right away. If you're an athlete, you might not get right on the team you want right away.
Or photography, like I could submit to agencies and I might not even get picked for one.
Right. And so like taking those things and being like, okay, well, this is really in my hands, especially in a day and age where online, like whatever you want to learn, you can learn. So if you want to learn photography, you want to learn music, you want to learn whatever it is, you go on YouTube, you can find it. You want to learn video editing, like any creative thing.
Yeah.
There's people putting out really great free content. You like don't need to go to college. It's all in your hands. You don't need to pay any money. You can probably find whatever you need to learn for free. Do that. And then take the next step in whatever your industry is, whether it's like, okay, now I'm good at this thing. Maybe go work for a bunch of people for free. That can give you, that's like a big way to start. Honestly,
I worked for Brandy Melville for free for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Like getting in and then you get the cred of like, I worked for Brandy Melville. I worked for this big brand already.
Yeah. The thing is, no one's going to know how much you're getting paid.
Yeah.
It could be $0, it could be $100,000, $1 million, whatever. No one's going to know except you in the company.
And like building your credibility is like the biggest part of that.
But also don't work for free, because.
Ooh, okay. I'm a big supporter of working for free.
Okay, let me tell you.
Yes, but I want to hear your angle on it.
When you work for free, I mean, there's been things I've worked for free for, like magazine covers for free, like creative shoots for free, but also know your worth, because you're giving your time. You're giving your time. You're using your creativity. You're using your talent. And I feel like you should be recognized for it and paid for it, because you're giving your time and creativity and all that.
Right.
And also you're setting the bar for how much photographers should be paid. If every photographer worked for free, no one would ever get paid for photography again.
True. I have a different angle on that. We're going to take our short commercial break that we're going to have. And then I agree with you in some sense, but I also think that there's like two sides of that coin.
I want to hear it.
So we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Are you someone who just doesn't have time to frequently make trips to the grocery store and prepare 3 healthy meals every day that taste good and are good for you? You know, that difficult combo that we're always looking for. Well, welcome to the club. You're basically one of all of us. Catered Fit is this really epic meal prepping service that delivers fresh made meals to your door daily or as frequently as you would like. They have standard paleo and vegetarian options, and their website and app is super easy to use. A few of the delicious meals that they have on the menu for this week specifically include the Farmer's Market omelet with veggies, the spicy chipotle shrimp with kale salad. That sounds super good. And the garlic herb crusted pork loin with apricot glaze and butternut squash pilaf. Guys, there's so many different options. Those are some of the ones I saw that I was like, yo, those look tasty. Every listener of the show gets $25 off their first meal plan with the promo code TJRS, which stands for the Jake Roque Show, if you were wondering. Depending on the plan you get, meals are as low as $7 to $8 each. And one thing I really like about the packaging too is it comes with a printed out label of the macronutrient breakdown. So how many grams of carbs, fats, and proteins are in there. So if you're someone who likes to track those things, super helpful for that. And right now, the service areas include major cities across California and Florida, I think almost exclusively. So if you're in California and Florida, you're definitely covered. If you're in one of those major cities like LA, San Diego, Miami, Orlando. If you want to see if your town is included in the service areas, go to cateredfit.com. If you're someone who's like overspending on unhealthy food at work, or if you just don't have the time to go and set aside those couple hours it takes every day to make the healthy meals that are good for your body and for your taste buds, I highly recommend Catered Fit. I've had their meals. I really like them. I actually think it's a really competitive price in the meal planning sector of the market. So head over to cateredfit.com and use the promo code TJRS for $25 off your first order, and take a peek at the FAQ tab on their website for any more info. Yo, this ad is going to be super short because this segment is brought to you by me. If you're enjoying this podcast, all I want to ask of you is that you rate and review on whatever platform you happen to be listening to, or just freaking smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. I see you. I'm watching you. These things help out a lot, and if you've been getting any value from these discussions, I would really, really appreciate it. A lot of work goes into making these special, so yeah, a little bit in this area would go a long way if you're enjoying the podcast. And also feel free to subscribe on whatever platform you're on to be notified every time a new episode goes live. That's it. You're great. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to the show. Okay, so I think there's a super legit argument too for not working for free, and I think there's like a point where you have to like cut it off. You know, where you have to go, okay, like now I'm a professional and I've like set it up, and you have to get away from that eventually at some point. However, I think the best way to learn something is to work for somebody for free that's really, really good at it. So if someone has the opportunity, if they like don't know a lot about photography, but they have the opportunity to get in contact with someone like you, or someone who is like super legit at wedding photography, or if you want to start a business and you can find some CEO that you can say, hey, I'll come work for you for free. I just want to see what you do. I want to learn from you. You know, if you can, what I did, I had some like kids in the YouTube space where I said, yo, like, I know how to work a camera. I'd love to connect with you and like help you out, like shoot videos for you, you know, for free. And what it did for me, one was like let other people know, kind of like what you're saying about the thing where no one knows that you are working for free, right? I started shooting videos for them, and I kind of would say like my quote unquote payment was like the credit for it, right? Yeah. Like I just, I'm going to shoot for you for free, but I just want to say like, yeah, I shot it, you know, that was it. And that was like an investment in marketing myself for me. And so it came from there. Someone would say, oh, that video looks cool. Who shot it? And they'd say, oh, this person shot it. And then when someone's approaching you, then you have the power in that negotiation. You get to say like, here are my rates. And they have a yes or no, you know, instead of, it's hard to, when no one's coming to you already, it's hard to approach a bunch of people, say, hey, I want to do this for you. And they say, cool. And then you're like, I want you to pay me this much. And then it's like, we don't want to, you know? So if you can change like to have it be people approaching you instead of that, I think there's a balance. Yeah. Instead
I
of
agree with you
around.
100%. Because I interned for a wedding photographer for free.
Right.
And I was shooting for Brandy Melville for free for a while.
Something like that. It's really hard.
I still do free shoots though.
Yeah.
But it just depends on what it's for. If it's for a brand, I won't usually do it for free.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. And I think when you're at where you're at now, there's a level of like, yo, I'm legit. Like, you should respect this. And it's like, I'm not going to come and do your bidding for free, you know, like, cause you wouldn't go to an accountant and be like, hey, I really need my taxes done. Like, but I'm a really big brand. Can you do them for free? You know, it's like, but you get to say you did my taxes. It's like, I don't care. I don't want to sit around and do your taxes, you know, like, and so, yeah, there's so many different things where it's like, you're not going to work for free all the time, but at the same time, if you've never produced a movie, if you've never done a good, like a big photo shoot, if you've never produced a good song, you know, I think like, and you're not maybe where you want to be at that skill set, like right now, I would for sure go work for some really, really great music producer for free just to like sit behind them and watch them, you know? And it's like, you need me to go grab you water? I'll go grab it. And then I'll sit down and I'll watch you work.
That's more like interning though, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Which I guess when I think more in like the creative world, like when there's not formal internships, like try and make them, I guess is what I'm saying. So offer like your services to someone for free. And if you don't have a service to offer, get on YouTube and learn something. Like that's what I did. And even when I was interested in learning music from people, I went and learned how to be good at photo and video so that I could learn about the music industry. Like that was the whole purpose of it to me. And then it turned into like, oh wait, I kind of like this too. And I progressed in that area and did more and more of it. But the whole purpose for me was to like get in the room to like learn from these guys. And that's how I learned to produce music when I first started, knowing absolutely nothing. And I feel like so much of that too, that like fast tracked what I could have learned on my own. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Epic. So this is a really interesting question that I heard from a friend of mine that she posted on Instagram today. And it said, if you knew you were going to succeed at whatever you tried to do next, what would you try that you haven't really given a shot yet?
Oh, that's a good question.
So something that like you've always wanted to do, but you're like, maybe didn't because you thought you might not succeed at it, but you knew for 100%, like it's going to go great. You're going to succeed at it. What would you give a shot?
I really want to do confident coaching. I also want to start my YouTube again because I kind of did confident coaching in a way through my YouTube because I would try to like just help people, like the
Confidence
audience.
Coaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that to you?
I really just want to help, not to be biased or sexist, but I mainly want to help like young girls just find their confidence. Because I think all these girls are finding their validation through likes on Instagram or like looking up to models that post edited photos and they're like, I need to look like that to feel validated.
That's a big thing.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like I know I don't look like those models, you know, and it's totally okay.
Right.
Because I find my validation through other things. But my validation's not in my appearance. It's through how I make others feel. Yeah. That's where my validation comes from and from God. Yeah. Where younger girls are basically being raised by Instagram, if you think about it, and social media.
Absolutely.
And being influenced by that to be a certain way to fit in when that's not the case.
Especially, I think, too, a lot of times the people that they're looking up to, that they want to look like or whatever it is, you know, they want to be like, they want to look like, they want to act like, whatever that line is. A lot of times, too, those people that they're looking up to feel the same way towards someone else.
Exactly.
So those models feel like, oh, I want to look like, be like, whatever it is, you know, another person, and people are doing that to them.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to be able to get to a place to where you're just comfortable with who you are because you are who you are. And like, that's just got to be cool. So what advice would you give someone that's trying to grow just in general their social media following? So maybe not specifically to Instagram, or maybe not specifically to photography, but someone who's trying to like grow. You've had a lot of success on Instagram. What would you like give advice to people in that lane for?
I think collaborating is extremely important. Yeah. Because most of my followers are from Brandy Melville or like some of the people I photographed, and they will like follow me for years because they just liked that I was associated with a certain person or a certain brand, or just even like friends with them maybe. Yeah. Because I'm friends with a lot of people I photograph because we're all around the same age and like we just click, which I'm really fortunate.
It's like having work friends. You know, people have friends that they go to work with. So fun. And we make friends with people we sit down and do podcasts with or shoot with or shoot videos for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Just naturally how it goes.
But yeah, collaborating. So if you're a model, for example, you would reach out to a lot of photographers, maybe with a bigger following than you, and get on a radar. Because other photographers will be like, wow, who's that face? I've never seen it before. I want to work with her.
Yeah.
Or as a photographer, maybe I shoot with a celebrity. And then all these other brands are going to be like, wait, who's that photographer? We want to work with her because she worked with this person. So it's kind of like a domino effect almost.
Right.
Or like, I guess it's the right term. Same with like musicians, like collaborating. Like when Taylor Swift brought on Katy Perry to her music video, unexpected, and they collaborated, and it was cool.
Right.
Yeah. Or like Julia Michaels and Selena Gomez, like they collaborated. Like that was cool.
That's right. Yeah. How do you approach getting advice? There's two angles to this question. So one, generally, how do you go about approaching people for collaborations? Like especially maybe geared towards someone who's like earlier on in the thing. How do you like write up that DM or write up that email?
To be honest, I don't really DM a lot of people. How would
you want somebody to approach you maybe?
Okay. Well, usually the DMs and emails I get are just, hey, like I would love to shoot with you.
Right.
Or I would love for you to photograph my brand. Or like Brandy Melville emailed me and all they said was, can you come in on Saturday and shoot for us? It was a pretty mellow email.
Right. So even just like, I mean, a big part of it is just reaching out.
Yeah, just
That's
honestly, I've reached out to
just
people.
Just go shoot for it.
I reached out to people. I've reached out to, well, Peyton was following me and I saw she was following me and I was like, what? I was like, this girl's following me? She's so cool.
Yeah.
So I actually DM'd her.
Which,
said, hey,
by the way, I did the exact same thing to you, but we can get to that later.
Wait, you did?
You followed me and I said, why'd you follow me? You're so cool.
Thanks.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that now. We can talk about that after, but yeah.
We'll talk about that after.
But
same thing.
Yeah, basically same thing. I guess anyways, doesn't matter. But I DM'd her and I was like, hi, do you want to do a photo shoot and grab lunch?
Yeah.
And she said yes, and we grabbed lunch and like hit it off and we did a photo shoot and it was super fun. She brought her brother Spencer and now we were all friends. But I think just reaching out, honestly, I think people sometimes are too scared to, but it's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They don't answer you, they don't read your DM.
Exactly, yeah. And expect that too. Like, be cool with that. I think like a
rejection,
big thing.
It's a lot of rejection.
Right. And it's
happens
like,
to me.
Yeah, and it's maybe not even rejection. Maybe it's just like, person's visiting, they don't get to it. Maybe they, you got to put yourself in their shoes and be like, yeah, if I was receiving 100 DMs a day, I wouldn't respond to all of them.
Yeah.
You can't put yourself, like, you can't put that pressure on yourself to get back to everybody,
Yeah, also, I'm just terrible at DMing.
Yeah.
Like, people will message me, like, even, like, my friends will message me, and I'll, like, go back and be like a week later, and I'm like, I just saw this, I'm so sorry. Right.
And you gotta, like, have empathy for people in that situation, right? Because it's not, you can't expect everyone, if someone's getting, like I said, if you get 100 DMs a day, you can't respond to all of them. You can't, and if you do, you're not gonna be, like, in a healthy place mentally.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you give people that grace, but then also go into that knowing, like, for me, so this is episode 2 of the podcast, I went ahead last night, like late last night, I sent DMs to like 10 different people about having on, reaching out more so to people that I don't know personally because I was trying to like expand outside of my first circle. And like I go into that knowing like I probably expect to get responses from like 3 to 4 of them. And like that's cool, like that's kind of what you got to be comfortable with. And even if you get that, that's a great, that's a great ratio. So if you're someone who's getting into it, it's like, be okay sending 20 DMs and getting a response. Like that's cool. And
just
like,
be hungry.
Yeah. And a lot of the people that I've worked for and even had like long working relationships with, one, Molly Burke, she's someone that I worked for a while. And it just came from, I watched one of her videos and just act impulsively. If you want to do something, do it. And so like I watched one of her videos and saw she just moved to LA and I just shot her a DM and said, hey, so I moved to LA, you need someone to help record videos. Like I'm here and that's what I do. And you seem cool. So we should do it. And we got lunch and we started working together for like a year and a half. I still work for her every now and then, but there was like, we were working together consistently shooting like 2-3 videos a week for about a year or so, a little over a year. And it's like, sometimes like that volume of work can come from hey, you seem cool and I'd love to work with you, Yeah. Yeah.
And also, just a disclaimer, side note, I would like to say I've accomplished a lot, but that doesn't mean I don't get rejected.
Totally,
so I get like I've DM'd companies and they've literally said no to me.
Yeah.
So don't think I'm like the bee's knees and I get everything I want, because I don't.
Yeah.
Just for
Of
people
course.
listening.
And that will continue from day one until the last day that you're doing it.
Even if I shot for Vogue, maybe another company still wouldn't want to work with me.
Yeah.
Does not matter.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay. So the second part of this that I want to talk about too was when you go in, I think this is something big in like the industry that a lot of people like deal with, but they don't talk about because it's kind of like awkward or taboo. And it's like when you make these friends professionally that maybe say like have a big following or somebody that you think is really cool, you want to work with, but you don't want to make them feel like you're using them for a following. Because I think there's two pieces of this when you're reaching out to these people, right? And I think it's super important. I think the biggest part of this is like being genuine in who you are and being genuine with the people that you're with, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's also sometimes too, it's like, maybe I don't want to ask someone that has 100,000 followers when I have 3,000 followers to do something together because, I don't want them to make them feel like I'm just using them for their following. And it's like, you obviously, oftentimes in those types of collaborations, one person is delivering like significantly more value in that collaboration.
Yeah.
From an objective term, maybe. So how do you like approach that, sort of that balance, right?
I just feel like you have to also remember how valuable you are, because you are still giving something.
Yes.
Because even the models that I photograph that don't have like much of a following, I still see them as valuable, and they're helping me and I'm helping them. It's a collaborative thing.
Right.
So when I reached out to Peyton, for example, I'm just gonna keep using her because she's my friend and she gets it. But when I reached out to her, it was more than just a photo shoot. It was also to know her as a person. Mm-hmm. And I just went into it as like, okay, this is gonna be collaborative and I get to know her. We might not be friends after this, but that's okay. Like, just be cool to meet her and get to know her.
Totally.
When I reached out to her, I don't really have any expectations, I guess.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It was going to be a collaboration. She would get photos. I would get more exposure to different audience. But I also had intentions of like being her friend.
Right.
Like I did want to get to know her more than just taking photos of her. Mm-hmm. The same with everything though. I'm very intentional about with everyone I photograph. I want to be friends with everyone I photograph. Yeah. He's also, besides getting to know someone cool and like getting to know their personality, I want them to feel comfortable in front of the photos, or in front of the camera. Absolutely. Because if they're not comfortable, it'll show up in the photos. Mm-hmm. So
you do want to build some sort of genuine relationship. I feel like that's a big part of being a photographer, videographer. And a big thing that models or YouTubers or whoever look for is like they want someone that's just going to make, that they'll feel comfortable and like cool in themselves with.
Yeah, because you want to bring out the best part of them. You want everyone to see the best part of them. Yeah. And like photograph their beauty, from the inside out. Like I want people to know the people I photograph. Yeah. Well, just from looking at the photo. Yeah. So I think just remember how valuable you are, even if you don't, because a number does not define your value. Mm-hmm. Right. So maybe I think what I'm like getting out of this too is like go into it knowing, because I think when you're approaching these things, like when I send a message first, especially to someone I haven't talked to as well, I like to lead with, hey, here's what I want to do for you. Exactly. Right. So come in with it. So if I'm asking someone to be on the podcast, say in the future, I'm going to say, right now I can't really do it yet, but if I can go in and say, hey, this is what it's going to do for you. You're going to get maybe your thoughts, your ideas, your whatever in front of, let's say 50,000 listeners. That's what I can do for you. Now what I want is you to come on and I want to have you be on the show and I want to talk to you about maybe A, B, C, and D. Yeah. But coming into it saying like, hey, like at the front end saying like, hey, this is what I want to bring to you. And then I think at the same time too, like being super upfront with like, also, I think you're cool. Yeah. So being upfront with your intentions, saying like, hey, this is what I want to do business wise. And then also being comfortable saying for me, like in some experiences that I've had like this, say like, hey, I want to work with you. I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Also, I want to get to know you. Separately from that, like, I think you're really cool and want to get coffee, or like I want to hang out. I want to talk with you. I want to get to know you. And I think that actually when you do those things in reverse is when it can get weird. Yes. So if you approach someone and you're not upfront with like wanting to work with them, even if you do genuinely want to be friends, like really good friends with them because you think they're cool and it's like, hey, we're into the same
we're both into the same types of music. We're both in the same, photography. We're both into being YouTubers, whatever it is. If you come to them first, like from the friends angle, and then try to like work with them, it gets weird. So like if you lead first with like, hey, I'd love to work with you. And also like, I think you're cool and I want to be friends. Like, and just being upfront from the beginning, in my experience, it's taken away like that awkwardness later when it's like, okay, we're really good friends and I do want to work with you. But if working with you puts our friendship in jeopardy in any way, then I don't want to. Yeah. Like that's a big thing for me is like when I've had friends that are successful whatevers and it's like, hey, like I would genuinely love to work on some stuff with you. But if like doing that would somehow have like some like make our previous interactions like inauthentic in any way, then it's not worth it to me. Especially people that I like have, become my best friends, like in industry friends that are like now some of like my closest friends. It's like there is some sort of like balance there where it's like, yo, this relationship means more to me than the work does.
Exactly.
But yeah.
That's how I am with all my friends too. I just want them to know I'm like their friend first.
Right. And I think it's totally cool. Like if it's someone that you're more acquaintances with, just say exactly that. Yeah. It's like, I'd love to work with you, but if you feel like it would be weird in any way, then just don't. And like, that's totally cool. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But it's tough. Sometimes it's tough to figure out because the closer you are with someone, maybe the easier it is. But when you're in that like in between, know someone for a few months and you want to like work with them, it like, I feel like there's some sort of balance that you have to ride there. It is good just to put your intentions up front and then also be like, but I also think you're cool and do want to get to know you. But it's something I still juggle with. Like, I don't feel like I have it figured out yet at the same time too. It's interesting. Yeah. Cause I just don't want to make people feel uncomfortable or like not like though. Disingenuous, Yeah. You've never come off that way though. Yeah. I think if you're just say what you're saying right now. Right. Take your own advice. Yeah. I think it's, that I know that, but sometimes it's hard to do it at the same time too. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just be more confident. I think you need to be more confident about it. Yeah. I think I probably should be. Yeah. That's good. And then be cool if like someone's like, nah. And it's like, okay. You pray about it too before you send it. Yeah. Yeah. It always helps. Yeah. I dig that. That's good advice. Amazing. What is something that is true about you? Let me make this less awkward of a transition. I can't do it. Never mind. What is something that's true about you that not a lot of people know, but that you wish they knew? Ooh. Okay. So like people have this image of Krissy that is like who you are on social media and, through your work and everything. But what is something that maybe doesn't come through that you're like, this is a big part of who I am. I want you to know this. Okay. Well, let me ask, what do you think my facade is on Instagram? What do you think? I don't think it's a facade. I think it's just a piece of who you are. Cause I know who you are. I know like your personality. I know like, but if you just looked at my Instagram, like what would you assume about me? I would assume that you're a like creative, artsy, fashion photographer type person. Okay. And which you are those things, I think. Thanks. Too. But I also think that you're also like a chill girl, Thanks. Like you're just like cool and relaxed. And I think, like I feel like we both kind of have a little bit that like growing up in Orange County, that like relaxed kind of vibe where like LA, and this is like not a full generalization, but sometimes people can be like more pretentious, more into themselves, more like maybe less down to earth. You can't make that like kind of blanket statement, but kind of that thing. And you're really down to earth. You're just like a chill girl, like, yo, whatever, Yeah. And I think you let that through like on your stories a little bit too. But if somebody were to just like scroll through your feed, they would just be like, oh, she's a really talented, creative, artsy person, Okay. Thanks. Which I don't think like encompasses like all of you. I put you on the spot, but I just wanted to know before I like said something and it was already so obvious I was that way, if that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So sorry I put you on the spot. No, thank you. That was nice. I don't know if I make this super clear. I think I pretty much do, but like I love photography and it is like one of my true loves, but like photography is also a gateway for me to help people. And I don't think people know that. Like I want my photos to help people. Yeah. The only reason why I would ever want, I don't like this. I don't know how to say this. I'll just say it and you can cut it out if it sounds weird. But the only reason why I would ever want like a lot of followers. So here we go. Okay, yeah. I like it. A lot of followers is because I would be reaching an audience to help them. Right. And if you have genuinely good intentions, like there's nothing wrong with wanting to help more people
Yeah.
or wanting to, like, a lot of times I think people view money in a similar way to like quote unquote fame,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh, it's like, to me, I want to make a ton of money. I want to make a lot of it. And I don't feel bad saying that, because like I want to make a lot of money and I want to do a lot of good with it, you know? Like I want to be able to see someone that's like hurting and needs help and
Exactly,
be like, yo,
yeah.
I know what it's like to hurt and need help or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Like let me help you through this section. Let me help
Yeah.
you get set up so that your life doesn't have to be like this more in the future, or whatever it is, you know, like with money or with influence or with fame, you know, you can use those things for like in a really positive
Yeah,
way, or they can be
exactly.
used in a selfish way,
Yeah.
you know? I don't think there's anything wrong in being like, yeah, I want more of those things that could help me do.
But also like I want to make it clear, like I'm not like follower hungry. I'm not like, oh, I need followers. You know, it's like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it's not, it's not. But like,
right, which is being genuine, and people want to interact with someone that's genuine.
yeah,
and
I just want
not
everyone
fake.
to do whatever they want to do. If they want to
Right.
follow me, it's totally fine. If they do,
Right.
great. Hi, I'm Chrissy. But
exactly.
but I just really want to help people
Yeah.
with their confidence, like I've mentioned a million times on this podcast. But like photos, like I want even the girls you see on my Instagram, some of them are very broken.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to tell that.
Totally.
And I am trying so hard just to make them know how beautiful they are and how valuable they are, and just all these things, try to be like a mentor to them,
Right.
because it took me 23 years to get like this confident and
Right.
really be happy with myself. So I'm trying to shed a light on them to help them so they don't feel broken and lost and
Totally.
confused. I want to be like a big sister, or like just someone that they can talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people, models, girls, guys, whatever type
Yeah.
of work you're in, you know, models, musicians, engineers,
Yeah.
doctors, you know, like most everybody could use some encouragement, you know, and
Yeah.
could use someone saying like, no, like one, it's two angles on it. One, it's like you suck and you screw things up all the time, because you probably do. I do.
Yeah.
But so does everybody else.
Mhm.
And like, that's cool. That's fine. Like, it's okay to like screw things up all the time, because that's part of the game. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to be in your job, you're going to mess things up. You're going to be in relationships, you're going to do things wrong. You know,
Exactly.
like that's okay. Know that. And then also like on the other end of it, it's like, but actually you're doing, you know, like being like, okay, I suck, but that's okay because other people suck.
Yeah.
But then also being like, but I am good at stuff too.
Yeah,
and I'm like confident in
exactly.
that, and I'm going to own it. And like the things that you are good at, like be comfortable being like, no,
Exactly.
it's okay. Like I'm good at this, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think people just think mistakes are so negative all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all learning opportunities, and it just helps you grow and further yourself as a person.
Right. Totally.
So.
Totally. Amazing. We're going to take another quick break.
Okay.
And we will be right back. Yo, this segment of the podcast is brought to you by my brand new Patreon page. I'm actually super, super, super excited to finally be sharing this with you guys. If you would like to support this podcast and my content in general, this is the absolute best way to do so. My page is set up on patreon.com/Jake Roque. That's JakeRoque, if you hadn't known so already. I'm working really hard to make this page a genuine exchange of value, and I'm setting up the reward tiers to be things that I would actually want from a lot of the creators that I watch and enjoy and would want to support. So they currently include things like a forum for this community to meet other like-minded people, an opportunity to ask guests on my podcast your own personalized questions, and you'll get a shout out every time we do that. A monthly patron-only Google Hangout where we can talk about whatever the heck we want to. It'll be exclusive just to the patrons. There's a weekend getaway to LA, so if you are contributing at a tier for a certain duration of time, we just get to hang out, and I'll bring you on a vacation in LA, and we'll go do fun things here, like go to the beach and go to dinner and have a lovely time. I think that would be so sick. And the one I'm probably the most excited for is I have a couple slots open on this mentorship tier. This is something I really believe in, and I've had many mentors in the past that have given me some of the most valuable experiences and lessons of my entire life. So I'm really looking forward to this part. I can teach you all I know about podcasting, music, content creation, relationships, literally anything I can help you with. Feel free to ask in that time. And something I'd also love to do with this would be to pick a book a month to go through with everyone that's in that tier, and we could pick a book to go through together and just have a discussion of what we learn, kind of like a one-on-one book club for the people that are in that. Anyways, there's all the details for all of this over on patreon.com/Jake Roque. And if you'd like to support the podcast, if you want to hear more podcasts like this is a really, really great way to do so. I'm a big believer that commitment to fitness and health is one of the most important parts of being a high achiever in all areas of life. From vital endorphin releases to deeper sleep, to better emotional, mental, and physical health, increased energy, and confidence in daily life, we all know that we should be staying committed to a consistent workout routine, but knowing what to do and actually sticking with it can be difficult on your own. That's why I've recently launched the online side of my personal training business. I'm a certified personal trainer through the National Council of Certified Personal Trainers, the NCCPT, and I've experience working with a diverse clientele from high-performing athletes to individuals looking to lose 100 pounds or more. One of the most important parts of working with a trainer is having a person who will lay out a plan according to your goals and will continue to check in with you and hold you accountable to showing up and staying on track. Virtual personal training is really simple. I write out a personalized workout plan for you each week, tailored specifically to your fitness goals, and we'll meet once a week via Skype or FaceTime to track your progress, answer any questions you have, and plan out your upcoming week. Most of my in-person clients pay $75 to $85 a session, which is really typical for a lot of big box gyms, places like 24 Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, Equinox, and the like, which in my opinion is still a very worthwhile investment in your own health. But my personal training online programs are just $50 a week for a limited time until my schedule fills up. This is something that I've just recently launched and I'm really excited about. So if you are interested or have any questions, shoot me an email at jakeroque3@yahoo.com. That's Jake, ROQUE 3@yahoo.com with the subject line PT. And I will set you up with a free fitness assessment call where we'll talk through some of your goals and get started on a plan that works for you. Excited to hear from you. Let's get back to the show. When we took a break, I think you asked me a question that I think is really interesting. And why don't you just ask it?
Okay, so Jake and I both are Christian, and I was asking him, do you think talking about God on Instagram or any social media platform hurts your engagement or hurts opportunities?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to phrase that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's my answer was I think it helps and it hurts.
Okay.
In different ways, right? So I think that, of course, people oftentimes like look up to people that are like them in some ways, I think.
Yeah.
So when you have like younger Christian people, it's cool. I think it's important to me and why like I will always have that be a part of what I do, because when I was younger, I thought like, especially, you know, I grew up like in the church and surrounded by Christians. And sometimes I think people think there's a lot of different like maybe types of Christianity, you know what I mean? A lot of different types of people are Christians. And so there's like different perceptions of it depending on who you're talking to. But to me, I remember thinking like, it was really cool when I saw people that were older than me that I thought were really cool, that like have a lot of fun, you know, and were Christians. And it was like, yeah, I think sometimes people grow up and they have the misconception that like being a Christian, or a lot of times like any religion, it's like following a rule book. You know, it's like, here's this list of rules and you got to do all these things. And if you do all these things, then you're a good person, you know, which is not
true.
You know, which is not how it works. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of people that are, you know, claim to be whatever religion that are not good people, for one.
Yeah.
Which, gosh, that's a harsh thing to say. Maybe not good people, you know, but do things that are not good, right?
Yeah.
Is maybe a better way to put it.
There you go. That's a good way.
And yeah, all that to say, for me, it was important when I was younger to like look up to those people. And when I saw people that were like, yo, yeah, I'm a Christian and like I do all this sick stuff and I have a good time and I have a lot of fun. Like, it's not like, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that, you know, which is like, I think how some people growing up in the church, they see like faith being that, you know, like this rule book that they got to follow. And so I think it can help in some ways is when people look up to you and they see like, yeah,
something like relatable. Right.
Relatable, or, you know, that person's like me or whatever it is. And I think that goes for like any, you know, if it's being a Christian, if it's being from the same country, if it's being from the same hometown, whatever it is, you know, when you see somebody like you, it's like you connect with them, you relate a little bit more. So I think it can help in that aspect. I also know personally that there have been a friend of mine who was interning for a company that I won't name right now, but she gave them a list of like quote unquote influencers for an opportunity to work with the brand. And they were in a meeting together and they saw that I had like Christian or like Jesus in my bio or something like that at the time. And they were like, oh, he has this in his bio. We try to stay away from anything that's like religious or political for our brand. Which is, generally speaking, from a brand perspective, like not necessarily the worst angle to take marketing wise. Like I get it, you know, like I understand where they come from. So it doesn't like totally like make me super angry. Like how dare they, you know, because if you're trying to keep your brand something that's open to all types of people, which is something I tried to be in my life. Like I understand that concept. Like I want to be someone that I'm a Christian, but I want people to know like I'm going to have a lot of different types of people on this podcast that do not think the same as me. And like, that's totally cool. And they're my friends and I love them. And like that's fine. Yeah. And I think that, you know, you don't want to put that when you're a brand, you don't want to like alienate anyone a lot of times when, especially when your focus is just business, you know, and it's like just to make sales and whatever that is.
It makes me wonder how many deals I might have lost because God's in my bio and I've had it in my bio for years. Yeah. Yeah. But also I get a lot of brands saying, I love that God's in your bio. Right. So it's just, I guess it's just like, I mean, I can say my favorite
I think
color,
it goes for like people,
I think whatever interest you're in, I could be like, I don't even know, something that someone doesn't agree with and they just won't choose me because they don't agree with it. Yeah. Not even religion wise. Right. I could be like, I like dogs over cats. And they're like, well, we're looking for cat people. So
totally. And like, that's okay. You know, like we live like in a country where it's like, yeah, I think everybody should be able to say like, yo, this is me and this is what I love. And like, and you know, like everyone should be able to do that. And
for example, like I've been approached by like weed companies and I've always say no because weed's not something I want to promote. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like the same thing. Like we can always turn down things we're not interested in.
I think brands should be able to say like, I don't like you. I don't want to work with you. And like, yeah, that's how it works.
Well, yeah, because I don't want to promote weed or smoking cigarettes or anything. And no matter what the price is, I'm not going to, sell, I'm not going to promote that. Yeah. I'm like I'm on a very fine line right now.
Yeah. I mean, I also would say too, I get what you're saying. Yeah. And that's tough because someone's like, yo, I'll pay you $100,000 to smoke this cigarette in an Instagram photo. I'd be like, give me that cigarette. I'm going to smoke it and give me $100,000.
You heard it here first.
I don't think smoking cigarettes is good for you, but I would probably
if any cigarette company wants to pay him $100,000 a post,
I would do it. Yep. Gosh, I would do it. And then I would say like, don't smoke, kids. This is just a photo I got paid $100,000 for. Also, if someone offers you $100,000 to smoke a cigarette, you smoke that cigarette and then don't smoke another one. Is that bad advice? I feel like that's good advice. I just feel like it's like,
I get lung cancer, kids.
You shouldn't do it. Yeah, probably one cigarette. Like, I'll run the risk. Don't smoke two, unless it's 200,000.
I don't even know what to say.
I'm just messing around. Okay, so to go on from there, there's a couple things that you touched on briefly earlier that I want to like circle back to a little bit. One was you like briefly mentioned, I had this billboard that was up in Times Square. It's one of the coolest things you've done. That when I was asking one of the coolest things you've done so far, one of your favorite things you worked on. How did that come about? Like your photo was on a billboard in Times Square for Forever 21. Yeah. Like, how did you get that?
Okay, so another little piece of advice for everyone is if you get invited to events, like clothing store events or whatever, a brand event, go to it because the networking opportunities are like endless. And I, at first, was seen as more of an influencer for Forever 21 before I was a photographer for them. Okay. So I was invited to a lot of their brand events and I'd always go and like, again, my intentions aren't, I want to meet this person so I can work with them. Like I always want to be friends with the people I'm working with.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. So I like met them and like, we just hit it off. And then eventually this campaign came up and it was for a Kodak film and Forever 21 collaboration.
Epic.
And they chose 4 photographers. It was me, Jared Thomas, Jordan Keith, and Warren Elgort. When I found out who the other 3 photographers were, I like practically had a heart attack because I've like looked up to them for so long.
That's amazing.
So I was able to host an event, which was really cool. I was the only female photographer, so that was not that being the only female photographer was cool, but it was cool to represent female photographers. Totally. And then the creative process of it was I sat down with these two guys, Mark and Edgar, and I was like, I want you guys to help me with this. Mm-hmm. Let's produce this and make this so cool. I want to go above and beyond. It's my first billboard, hopefully not my last. So let's hit it out of the park. So I chose the models. I chose the location. And Mark, thank you, Mark, if you're listening to this, he went and scouted it for me to make sure it was cool because I didn't have time. Mm. And he went and scouted it for me and thought it was cool. And then we brought in fog machines. I shot it all on film. I hired a guy to light the set for me because I wanted to look very vintage and nostalgic and just like a vintage race kind of vibe, race car kind of vibe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we did that, and then I saw my photos hung up we had an art gallery kind of party for 21 with Kodak, and just seeing the photos hung up and how many people came up to me and told me how good of a job I did, and it was this most amazing feeling. And then seeing the billboard in New York, that was crazy.
Were you there to go see it?
Yeah, I went and saw it. My whole family and I flew out.
No way. That's a really cool moment.
Yeah.
In the career to be oh, there it is.
And my name was on it. It was just cool.
Yeah.
Viewing my photos, I was like, oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
Cool.
I think something that's super interesting and a tough thing to balance, you're talking about being a female photographer in the industry. And something you've talked about on your profile too, there's been some scandals that have come out recently with different photographers. I think, almost entirely male, unless there's something I don't know of. But I think all, male photographers, just to that, that is what it is. There have been some guy photographers that have been putting models in. I don't know the whole story really, so maybe you can enlighten me a little bit. But what I do know is there's some guy photographers that have gotten a lot of success in the industry that are using that to manipulate models to kind of get them to do things that they're not comfortable with. Yeah. So coming in, having them trying to, wear less clothes than they're comfortable with, or no clothes, or whatever that kind of thing is, and photograph them, put them in really awkward situations, be no, this is how it is when you're a model,
Yeah.
What can you speak to in that? What would you recommend people do, them be aware of,
Well, first I want to say harassment isn't a one gender thing. I'm sure there are female photographers that have put other either female or male photographers in uncomfortable positions.
Totally.
But people just aren't ready to come out about it. I think it will happen. So it doesn't discriminate, unfortunately.
Yes.
But
I think it would be fair to say what I meant earlier. I think it is fair to say that it's probably more guys doing that.
Yeah,
than
definitely
girls,
more girls, but
proportionally. But it happens both ways, a lot of things.
Woman photographer.
Yes.
I've heard of mean women photographers.
Yeah.
But I never hear of anything coming out about women photographers. But I feel it's all just hush right now. I feel something.
I'm sure. I'm certainly.
It's probably not a good thing to
happens.
say. It's probably really negative of me to say, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel it shouldn't only be. I feel kind of bad for men sometimes. I feel they're always getting attacked.
Right. I think it's, I would agree in some aspects, in society to now, there's things in society today, there's things where are disproportionately attributed to certain genders. And there's stereotypes that maybe aren't totally fair, but a lot of times are based in some level of truth.
Yeah.
So, to say that, there's a lot of maybe more complex and nuanced places where this is true. But I think to say that, all men are really violent is no, that's not true.
Exactly.
Men aren't super violent. Men aren't, but in the same breath, 90-something% of violent crime that happens in the United States it's men doing it, So it's okay, it's not true that all men are this way. It's not true that all women are this way, but there are things that are that are based in truth. When you just if you're going to roll it down to the statistics. So I think you have to be fair and understand where people are at, but also not neglect what we know to be true, whether it's statistics or whatever it is. Yeah.
At this time, it would be mainly men photographer that are abusing their power.
Yeah. And I think if something is true, it's okay to say it. Most of the time.
No, I agree with you. I just want to
yeah.
make sure that everyone knows that if a woman photographer did make someone feel uncomfortable, to not brush it off.
It's still messed up. Yeah. It's just as messed up.
It's not just because she's a woman doesn't mean she's not above that power.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. I don't know if that made any sense.
It's about the action, not whether someone's a guy or a girl or whether someone is this or that. It's like, yo, someone does something messed up, it's messed up. And we'll take it by a case thing. We're not going to like,
Exactly.
Totally.
But I just want to say to all people that are trying to be models, all people out there that are trying to be models, that you do not have to be uncomfortable to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You can push yourself out of your comfort zone, but you can push yourself too far.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable with being naked in front of the camera and a photographer's like, this is going to make your career, but something
don't do it.
Don't do it, kids.
If there's something, I think it's like, and it's one thing to like push yourself out of your box of comfortability.
Yes.
But when it's
past your morals.
Yes. When it comes to morals, don't compromise on those. Compromise on things like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable because I'm shy, but I'm going to like get outside of my box and do it. Yeah. But if it's like, this is something I think is wrong, that's a different scenario.
Trust your gut. How about that? Trust your gut. Yeah. But also, what was I gonna say? I just had a point and I forgot it. But just trust your gut, stick to your morals.
Yeah.
If you're meant to make it into the industry, you will. Also, this is what I'm gonna say. Those photos will be around forever. There's no way of ever erasing them. So
anything you post, this expands outside of modeling for sure.
Yeah, just anything.
Or anything you're doing. Yeah, anything you write and put on the internet, like thoughts, whatever it is. Think of like I think a good censor for like, should I put this on the internet is like, would my future spouse be cool with this being on the internet? Would my future kids be cool with this? Would my future employer be cool with this? Like think about people that are going to be important to you. Think
would you
long-term.
care about it later on? Like in that moment, it might feel great. It might be like, yeah, this is so me. But in 30 years, like, are you still going to feel that way?
Right. And that for sure, that goes for modeling, that goes for pictures you post, but it goes
that's good. I like that.
Yeah. It goes for like, a lot of things outside of that too, because the internet is very
wild.
Permanent.
Even celebrities, like, photos are being leaked every day, Not every day, but a lot. But don't let people pressure you into doing things you don't want to do or things that make you feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Even like sometimes female models will be like, you shoot me in lingerie or a little bit. I'll say lingerie.
You don't say lingerie?
No, I said I'll just say lingerie because I was gonna say something else, but I just don't think I should say it. But not nude. I just was gonna say like sexier, and I was like, I think that sounds kind of odd. Anyways, and I'll tell them like, I'll do it for you, but I will not be using the photos because that's not my brand, but I just want to keep my Instagram and everything looking clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think an important part of it too is like, it's not a blanket statement. It's not to say like, you can post a photo. Yeah, I mean, maybe for guys, like you can post a photo in board shorts, but you can't post in boxers, or you can post in blah, blah, blah. But it's not that. And there's not, a lot of times there is a lot of gray area, and it's like up for interpretation. Yeah. And I think that like the most important thing is not to like try and stick to whatever metrics that someone else is going to put on you, but to figure out what that is for you and then stick to it. Right. So if it's like, if it's me, it's like, you'll never catch me doing a nude photo shoot. Yeah. Not going to happen. Like that's like, to me, like there's a line there that I'm not going to cross.
I'm not comfortable.
And like,
yeah.
And whatever that is for you, if it's like, oh, I don't want to, if another thing too is like maybe cursing might be another thing to like put in this example. Right. Because for me, and this is an interesting thing to talk about, but I don't really have like, cussing I don't take much offense to it in my personal life. Okay. If somebody does it to me, if I like say something like joking to a friend, it's not something that personally like feels super wrong.
Yeah,
However,
same here.
I wouldn't post something on the internet like dropping an F-bomb or like whatever it is, because I also think too, you have to think about like, it's not just about how something makes you feel, but it's about like how the way it's going to be received.
Exactly.
And I think the intention is like what's super important. So if you're saying like, yo, like your singing was effing great, like you're using a quote unquote bad word, but you're like building someone up. It's like for edification and for encouragement, know? And this is my personal belief on it. Like if someone thinks differently, like it's like, that's totally cool. But I think like the meaning behind the words is more important than the words. So like, that's my personal opinion. However, you won't catch me like posting something
exactly
where I'm
same
like,
here.
Like F this or that's effing great or whatever it is, because it's just like, it's just a decision that like, I've made that line and I've drawn that line, and like, like, you know, I think it's a good thing because the way people receive stuff is as important to me as like what I mean by it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and if it's something so simple that I can like not do to like keep people engaged or like whatever it is, like, or just at least like not hurt their feelings or whatever that line that is, like, that's something that I would choose to do.
And also like, I want to be the role model that I would look up to.
Yeah.
So like if, let's say, I mean, I probably have some people that look up to me. There's probably people that look up to you. I want to make sure I'm a good influence on them and make sure I am hopefully influence them to be the person that I would want to be.
Amazing. Okay, so we're going to go into this quick little lightning round at the end of this podcast here coming to the end. We got a couple questions. We could only pick a few because we can't sit here and talk forever, but we'll try and answer a couple of these really quick. One is from, we're going to shout out your Instagram. Thanks for sending us questions. Alexis, CERVXNTS.
Is this like Cervantes maybe?
Cervantes, probably.
Yeah, probably. It's pretty
Alexis.
trendy.
Well, thanks, Alexis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how it looks. She asked, Chrissy, what is the hardest part of working with such large brands?
Well, I think the pressure. There's so much pressure on you.
Oh gosh. Shooting under pressure is brutal.
I like to think I work better under pressure. I don't know what it is.
With photography, I'm just not confident. There's things that I'm like super confident in that I work better under pressure, like in sports, like the high pressure moments when I was younger, I did better. With photography, every shot I take, I'm like, gosh, I hope this turns out when I pull it up on my computer. Like, you know, when I shoot a wedding or something and you have one moment to catch it.
Oh yeah, the kiss.
I
always get stressed about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is about me is like, I feel like I know so many people that are good at a ton of things. And I feel like the one thing that I'm like, in my most humble opinion, and I'm good at is photography.
Yeah.
And I've also been doing it for 10 years.
Right.
But so I kind of get it now.
Yeah. So like, you're like, yo, like if someone's going to do it good, I'm going to do it good. Like I know my stuff.
Also,
like, you're confident enough in it, which is
good.
I
think I am confident enough. I would have to say, yeah, honestly.
Right. Which is okay. You can be confident, you know? Like that's cool.
I don't know where the line draws from humble and like cocky, so I'm like always like, yeah. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, just the pressure, because like I've had like some pretty big brands reach out to me, and I think everyone does this. Like they'll kind of get insecure in their head sometimes, where they're like, "Oh, I hope I do a good enough job. Or will this brand ever works with me again?" Like I kind of overthink, and there's a lot of pressure. Again, like I am confident in photography, but like my confident in photography, someone else can look at it and be like, "Yeah, that's not what we were looking for."
Yeah, because it is like subjective in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Art is art. Not everyone has to love it. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. That was a good answer. Second question comes from Majosolf1910. MAJOSOLF. Thanks for the question, my dude or dudette.
Sorry if we butchered your name.
Yeah, I apologize.
I wouldn't.
It will continue to happen forever as long as we take these questions. So
get ready. Buckle your seatbelts, kids.
Buckle up. How do I know? This is a really interesting question. How do I know if I'm a good photographer?
I actually like that question a lot.
Yeah.
You don't.
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
So stop asking.
Stop asking. Terrible question. I'm just kidding. It's a great question. I mean, like, I'm confident in like my ability.
Yeah.
But again, like I just mentioned before, I could love a photo and someone else could be like, "That's an awful photo," and that's okay. I never want to stop growing and learning in photography. I never want to think I'm good at photography.
Yeah.
So I always have room to grow.
Right. You never want to be like totally content.
Yes. I don't want to be content. I want to be challenged. I love challenges when it comes to like photography and video work and anything like that. I started doing video work, by the way.
Yeah.
Little side note.
It looks epic. I thought for a second when you were posting about Peyton's music video too, I thought that you shot it. And I was like, oh, she's broke in. Okay, here we go.
In my dreams, maybe. Maybe
we'll
one day.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
But I just never want to be content. I always want to keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm confident that I have the ability to be a good photographer, but I still want to keep growing and learning and just being the best version of myself that I can be, as cheesy as it sounds.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
So you'll never know.
Right. So maybe the answer is like you'll never know that you're a good photographer.
But
Maybe
believe
you will.
in yourself. Honestly, believe in yourself.
Yeah, it's just like be cool, like be okay with
Like,
it.
do you ever think you're a good musician?
I do.
You do?
I think I'm a good musician. I struggle with thinking I'm a good singer. That's the different part. I feel like confident in my musicianship.
But would you want to further like your knowledge in music?
Of course. Yeah.
So
I feel very far. I feel like, and that's an
you
interesting
can feel confident
question.
in your ability, but you always want to grow and further it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's okay too. I talk with friends a lot of times too, and people will be like, oh, no. I'll say like, you know, I'm not, in my own opinion, I'm not a great singer. I think objectively, I feel like I'm self-aware on this. Thank you.
I think I've
appreciate
DM'd you a few times, be like, you're a really good singer.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And like the encouragement is like amazing. I don't think that I'm like a great singer. I don't think I'm a phenomenal singer. I think I'm a good singer. And I'm okay with that, you know? Like I think that that's a piece of who I am, and that's like, you know, it's a part of even being a musician for me. I always felt like I'm a musician. I play instruments and I can sing too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a musician that can sing too. I'm not a singer that's also a musician. And so And I'm okay with that. So people are like, I'm like, sometimes I'll say like passively when I'm talking about something like, yeah, I'm not a great singer, but, and people are like, no, you're a great singer. And it's like, I get it, but it's also okay too, to be like, it's like, I'm not a great singer in my opinion. I think I'm a good singer. I don't think Taylor Swift is a great singer. I think she's a good singer and she writes really great songs and she nails a lot of stuff. And I almost like her more because of that, because like, she's not super good at it, but she like finds a way to like hustle and make it work. And even someone who like, don't take this wrong, but like Ed Sheeran, who's very good, maybe I would say a great singer, but he's also not, especially like early on in his career, he wasn't like incredibly vocally talented. John Bellion is another good example of this. Someone I look up to a ton, like Ed Sheeran, John Bellion, some of my favorite artists in the world. They, especially when they started out, they weren't great singers. Objectively, from someone who's like knows how to sing well, they weren't really great singers, but they wrote great songs. They like felt good. They sounded good on their songs, even though they're not like gonna go and throw a bunch of crazy runs. Like they wrote melodies that people wanted to listen to and sing along to. And like, it's okay to be like, yo, I'm self-aware. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. Like I can look that in the face and be okay and like operate from that place, you know?
Yeah, it's okay to like be aware of yourself.
Right.
Like, I think I'm a good photographer.
Not only is it okay, you gotta be self-aware.
Yeah, and also just being insecure. I don't know, I think if you think you're a bad photographer, then maybe like own up to it and like just keep pushing yourself.
Right.
Is that a weird thing to say?
Yeah, and if you're a bad photographer and you're a bad singer, the first part of getting better is realizing you're bad.
Yeah, well also like,
you know? Like if you're a bad singer but you know that you're a bad singer, you're way further along than someone that's a bad singer but thinks they're good.
Yeah,
like
that's good.
Yeah, and like same thing goes for photography. Like and that was something that I always felt like when I first started singing, I'd play songs on ukulele. It was the first like voiced instrument I could play besides when I first started playing drums and I started playing ukulele. I had the hardest time finding keys of songs. Like when I would try and start singing, I'd be like, that's not the right note. No, I know that's not where it starts. Like, and it was so frustrating. But I remember thinking like, at least I know when it sounds bad.
Yeah.
You know, like, cause if you know when it sounds bad, then you know that it needs to be fixed and you can work on fixing it.
Yeah. Well, also like just another disclaimer. I thought I was a terrible photographer a few years ago. And it takes a while to find your niche. Same with music, probably. Like you can try all different genres and not find your niche for a while, you know?
Right. You can try and be a rapper when you might be a great jazz singer.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Like, it's not going to work still, you know?
And that's okay. It took me a while to figure out what my style was, the technique I wanted to portray in my photos, and the look. And I didn't think I was there yet. And I recognized that. I didn't say, I'm a terrible photographer, I should just give up. I was like, no, this is something I'm passionate about. I'm going to work through this and find my niche. And now I do. And now I'm very happy with my photos.
Yeah.
So just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't wake up and find my niche.
Right. And you didn't wake up. And it's a really super, super natural part of the process that will never go away, to finish something and be like,
yeah,
it's not exactly as good as I want it.
Yeah, even my favorite photo shoots, I'm like, oh, I could have done better. I like almost cried over my 17 Mexico cover because I was like, this is not how I wanted to look.
That's so funny.
Isn't that weird?
Because and it's interesting too, because like, so oftentimes people go, I've put out videos before singing that I'm like, oh gosh, this like, or even maybe I look back on a year later and I'm like, that's not very good. But maybe people who don't know as much are like, no, this is great. What are you talking about? You know? And I feel like for like me, when I look, if you were to give me, because I looked at that cover like a few hours ago, And if you were to be like, try and find one thing wrong with this, I feel like I could sit there for like 15 minutes and be like, I don't know, everything looks perfect.
Oh,
you know?
thank you.
But you can sit there
You're
and
your
look
own
at it and
harshest
be
critic.
like, yeah, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong. And it's like most people, and that's only in a way that self-awareness is what makes you good, because you're aware of the mistakes maybe more so than someone else who might not be. That's what part of what makes you good. But then also too, it's like, that's never going to go away and you just got to be cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good cover.
Yeah,
It's a good magazine cover.
Thank you.
It looks like a 17 magazine cover.
Oh, amazing. I nailed it.
You did nail it.
Yeah, but you're your own harshest critic.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Amazing. Last question we got that we will pull from the Instagram was someone asked at y.a.n.q.i. Thank you, Yankee.
I did not know how you're going to say that.
Yankee. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
Or the way I said it the first time, spelled out. What film camera do you use /recommend?
Film camera?
Yeah,
okay.
film camera.
I use a Canon A1,
Cool.
a Hasselblad 500 CM.
Yes.
I don't know if CM is centimeters or is it just CM.
I had no idea.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
I don't know that. Whatever. Anyways, CM is what I'm going to go with. And I like disposables.
Yeah. What percentage of your photography do you do on those cameras too, would you say? Film versus digital?
I would say, oh God.
Like you do quite a bit of film.
I do mainly film.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I kind of do digital for backup.
How often do you, that's so cool to me. How often do you shoot digital? Because sometimes I have a hard time telling, sometimes you could probably tell the difference, but when someone shoots digital and edits it to look like film or shoots film one, can you tell the difference?
Yes, I can now.
Yeah.
But in the past, when I would only shoot digital and make it look like film, I had trouble figuring out what the difference would be. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, oh, that's film, that's digital.
Yeah. So what do you say to the person? So I'm kind of on the train of, and I think you'll sure have an artistic answer to this, but I'm like, if you can shoot digital and make it look good as digital, and shoot digital and make it look like film, why shoot film?
Because film is fun.
Yeah.
Film is...
Is it the challenge that it presents?
I like challenges. It's honestly, film is not that challenging, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I've never shot film, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's not that hard, but you never know how it's going to turn out. Mm-hmm. And that's the fun part. And then when you get it back, you're like, wow, this looks better than what it was going to look like in my head.
Gotcha.
With digital, it's like, okay, shoot. Oh, I don't like the settings. Fix settings. Shoot again. Okay, found it. Move on.
Sounds like what it sounds like is my worst nightmare.
Film.
Because I get the one you said, like, you don't know what it's going to look like till you get it back, and that's what's exciting. That being exciting to you is like, I don't know what it's going to look like till I get it back. I'm freaking out as I take photos. Like if I were to be there, because I shoot and I check, especially, depending on what the type of shoot is as well. But like, I already have enough anxiety, like hoping it turns out well when I'm shooting. And this, I'm sure it comes like, you are so confident in your skills and you have a lot more experience than I do. So I'm sure that's part of it, but
I mean,
sounds scary.
I have roles that I see and I'm like, oh no, this is awful. Like I've gotten some film back and I'm like, yikes, I should have chose a different exposure.
Yeah. So you take digital.
I take digital for backup. You can always
use those.
Yeah, but like.
And you shoot, what camera do you use, by the way?
For digital?
Yeah. You're on a 5D train?
Yeah,
right?
I am.
5D3, 5D4?
4, yeah.
Okay.
I always forget. The Roman numerals always throw me off, to be
Yeah.
honest. I never understood Roman numerals.
Yeah.
I kind of sound kind of dumb right now, but anyways.
Didn't take your Roman numerals class in college?
I didn't get that far. But yeah, I like film a lot because you get it back. It's nostalgic almost, like just the vibe of it. And also it's like you said, it's your worst nightmare, but it's like it's a challenge for me when I'm like doing motion with girls. When they're like spinning, I'm like, am I going to catch this great moment? And when I get it back, I feel so accomplished. I'm like, that looks amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's like fun for me. Like I like challenges.
Yeah. I feel like the polar opposite, but I understand the way you feel at the same time.
Yeah.
I could see myself feeling that way in another sector that doesn't provoke as much anxiety in myself.
Yeah. I think I've been doing it for so long. Like I've said before, I think it's just like, it's kind of easier for me.
Yeah.
But also, what was I gonna say? Crap. I keep forgetting. Oh, when I use like a lighting, like, artificial lighting.
Yeah.
And I shoot film, I'm so excited to get it back because I have no idea how it's gonna turn out.
Interesting.
I
crazy.
love it. I love
So it adds the excitement of it, which is good because sometimes
Yes.
like if it's making something more fun, it makes you want to do it more, then it's worth maybe the risk or the extra effort or whatever that is.
Yeah, but also people hate on disposables,
Mm-hmm.
but they're great.
Mm-hmm.
They're easy. You pull them out, you take a photo, and they always come out looking good.
They do.
All
They're so
the
fun.
time.
Yeah.
They're like little fun party things too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring them to a party, snap some photos of your friends. Like, it's so fun.
Right. And it takes like, it takes away like the overthinking of it. You
Yeah.
know? It's like, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to shoot it. It's the photo. We got it. You know, I'm not going to sit here and take 26 of them so you can sit there and look through which one
Yeah,
your
exactly.
face looks the best in. It's like, yeah, we took it. We're going to move on with life, which I think is like a good way to operate day to day, you know?
Yeah, because people
in that world.
message me. They're like, oh, like, I hate disposables. Why are you using them? I'm just like, because it's easy. It's a good backup. It's reliable. And I like it. I like the look. And that's my look. And screw off. Just kidding. Don't put that in.
And get out.
Yeah. And shut up.
I think too, like, that goes for, again, like a lot of different industries. It's like if you're going to be doing something, you need to enjoy it.
Yes.
In order for it to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So if you do something that you don't enjoy over and over and over, you're eventually either you're not going to be good at it or you're going to keep on procrastinating with it or whatever it is. Like that's how making videos for a lot of like influencers and social media kids got for me. It was just like, I didn't love it and I wasn't stoked on it and I kept on like letting it build up and I would get behind or whatever it was, or maybe not get behind, but like pull all-nighters editing a video because I procrastinated, whatever it was, kind of like you talked about. And it's like, you've got to find a way to keep what you do, like to stay in love with it in order for it to be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is our last question here for the day. What's your advice for me with this podcast and with my music? What would you say you need to be doing more of this?
God, that's hard.
Or music or career. Like, what would you be like, you know what?
I like this podcast. I feel really comfortable. I'm really happy. Like, I feel like I got to say a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I got to talk about what I'm passionate about outside of photography. Like, it's really cool. I think you should just ask people, like, aim high and ask a lot of people that inspire you. Even if you're like, this person will never respond to me. Yeah. Just do it.
Hit him with the DM.
I think,
who knows?
I think everyone needs to have more confidence. I don't know. I feel like sometimes like people feel validation through their numbers on Instagram and they're like, that person will never respond to me. Right. But you never know. Yeah. Someone might be waiting for them to like do a podcast, you know, like waiting for their moment to be on a podcast.
Yeah. Even just like, to give somebody an opportunity to like speak their mind and share in a way they might not.
With music, I feel like you should keep releasing more. Mm-hmm. Like do a lot more covers. Yeah.
That's good advice.
Because you have a good voice and you're a good looking guy. So you'll get a lot of girls wanting to listen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's the hope. We will see. I'll put out more music and we'll see if more people want to listen. Sounds like a good way to go about it.
Hopefully my advice helps a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So another fun question I want to ask everybody before we finish up the podcast. Who is someone you'd like to see on this podcast next? Maybe not next, like the next show, but eventually. Someone, if it was your podcast or someone you're like, you know what? I want to hear what they have to say around some of the same topics. I want to see Kenzie on here. Kenzie Elizabeth. Yeah. She will be on here, I'm sure.
She's great. Yeah. Big fan.
Amazing. I'm a big fan. Woo. Thank you for coming on, Krissy.
Thank you for having me.
You are so cool.
Aw, thank you.
Again, you guys can find Krissy at Krissy on Instagram. That hard. It's simple. Yeah, it's really easy.
I made it easy for everyone.
Yeah. Where else is there like stuff that you'd want people to find from you too?
I'm going to post on YouTube again soon.
Amazing.
Have some videos in the works. I think I have to look it up.
Should you just have them search your name? Krissy, Saleh.
That probably, is that what you searched?
Can you say it again? Yeah, it came up when I searched
Krissy Saleh.
Yeah. Saleh. If you're a rapper. That's probably about it. That's about it.
Those are the two things. Yeah. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're a rapper, I feel like that'd be a cool thing to have someone like yell in the back of your track.
Saleh.
You know? Saleh. Amazing. And we will, yes.
I was going to say, if I ever decided to rap, maybe
come to the studio
maybe
here.
You can do it.
Yeah, I'll produce your rap tunes. And we'll drop some bangers.
You heard it here first. Might become a rapper.
You heard it here first. It's going to be crazy like 32 years from now when she has all these Grammys racked up and she's like, man, you know, it all started on episode 2.
I'll be like, shout out to the guy that yelled my last name in my track.
Saleh. Thanks for coming on, Krissy. You're the best.
Of course. You're the best.
Well, maybe have you on again one day to learn more from you.
Maybe, guys.
Maybe.
Don't hold your breath.
Hold your breath until then. Okay. Don't do it. Okay. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys
bye.
later. Peace out.